a song in my heart, the story of men and their music, of composers who really had a song in their hearts. Little Nellie Kelly, a hit of the 20s, a hit of today. Its creator? Why, George M. Cohan, one of the really great names of the theater and music business. And the spotlight is on George for this presentation. And why not? For 25 years, his genius made him the biggest name in the entertainment world. From the years 1900 to 1925, he reigned supreme. And it was left to Noel Coward to succeed to his crown. For like Coward, George M. Cohan was an actor, playwright, and composer of both lyrics and music. It all started way back in 1878. A comedian, one Jerry Cohan, was just finishing a number in a famous minstrel show of the day.
Jerry, you make that banjo talk.
Thanks, Mac, thanks. Any news yet?
Not yet, Jerry.
Oh, gee, this waiting is something awful. I'm just about done in.
You'll be all right, Jerry. You know, when it comes to bringing a baby into the world, a man ain't much use around.
Sure, and I know that, Mac, but this waiting is killing me.
It won't kill you, boy. I've never seen a father die of childbirth yet.
Mr. Mac!
Yep.
A telegram for Jerry Cohan.
He's right here beside me.
Oh, you open it, Mac. I can't.
Okay, son. Jerry, it's a boy.
A boy? I'm a father. Hooray!
Yes, Jerry, and they're both well.
Mac, that's the sweetest music I ever heard. And he's born on Independence Day, the 4th of July.
Yes, and is it any wonder that that boy who they named George Michael Cohan, born of parents who were both theatrical artists, grew up with the theater in his very soul. He was the original Yankee Doodle boy. And some 20 years later, we find him singing a song of his own composition to a delighted New York audience. Yes, you're right. The song was, I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
I'm the kid that's all the candy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm glad I am. So's Uncle Sam. I'm a real live Yankee Doodle. Made my name and fame and boodle, just like Mr. Doodle did by riding on a pony. I love to listen to the Dixie strain. I long to see the girl I left behind me, and that ain't Josh. She's a Yankee, by gosh.
Oh, Sam, can you see anything about a Yankee that's a phony?
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew of my Uncle Sam's, born on the 4th of July. Got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy.
Yankee Doodle been through London just to ride a pony.
I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle toy.
Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride a pony.
I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
Shortly after this song swept the world by storm, young George was interviewed by one of the big theatrical critics of the day.
Mr. Cohan, this new song hit of yours has put you right on the map. Naturally, the public likes to hear of a success story. So with your help, I'd like to tell them something about this up-and-coming young artist-composer.
Well, thank you for the compliment, but I guess there isn't much to tell you.
But I think there is. For instance, you started in show business when you were pretty young.
Oh, yes, I made my first stage appearance when I was only 4.
And they tell me you had your own act when you were just 10 years old.
That's right. I was billed as Little George, the child violinist. Later, I became one of the 4 Cohans with my father, mother, and sister Joseph.
Ah, now we're getting down to things. They tell me to... Listen, I'm going to call you George.
By all means.
They tell me you had quite a flair for writing sketches.
Yes, I suppose I have. I've written about 150 different theatrical acts.
150 sketches. That's quite a lot of material. And you write your shows, too?
Oh, yes. I've got a new production in rehearsal right now.
Fine. Have you given it a title yet?
Yes, it's a musical comedy. I'm calling it 45 Minutes from Broadway.
And believe me, that show is a hit. It starred Ethel Levy and put Cohan's name in the bright lights, too. The hit number from this production was that good old-timer, Mary's a Grand Old Name.
My mother's name was Mary. She was so good and true, because her name was Mary. She called me Mary, too. She wasn't gay or airy, as plain as she could be. I hate to meet a fairy who calls herself Marie, for it is Mary, Mary, plain as any name can be, but with propriety, society will say Marie, but it was Mary, Mary, long before the fashions came. And there is something there that sounds so square. It's a grand old name.
And when they finished that refrain, the old male quartet, complete with striped-colored blazers, snake-proof white trousers, straw deckers, and handlebar moustaches, came on to assist in building up the second chorus.
For it is Mary, Mary, plain as any name can be, but with propriety, society will say Marie, but it was Mary, Mary, long before the fashions came. And there is something there that sounds so square, is a
That show and the music from it meant a lot to young George. It established him as a Broadway star. And what's more, he fell in love with the leading lady of the show, Ethel Levy, and married her. Fast worker, this boy. Sometime after this, the manager of one of New York's most famous vaudeville houses was having a chat to young Cohan.
George, you've been a big success. Made a great name for yourself.
Oh, I've been lucky, that's all.
It's not luck, George. It's talent. And yet, somehow, I'm sorry about it all.
Why's that? Don't tell me I'm getting a swelled head.
Oh, far from it. I'm sorry because vaudeville stage has lost another great performer from its ranks. You see, you're only interested in production now, and that means you cease writing for variety.
Says who? Well, maybe most of my time will be devoted to the legitimate stage, but I'll never forsake vaudeville. Why, I've got a real chorus song ready now, and for me, it's for chorus singers in vaudeville the world over.
And he was 100% right, for he gave us that broth of a song, Harrigan, a number that was sung with tremendous success by Flurry Ford.
Who is the man who will spend or will even lend? Harrigan, that's me. Who is your friend when you find that you need a friend? Harrigan, that's me. For I'm just as proud of my name, you see, as ever a sorrow a king could be. Who is the man helps a man every time he can? Harrigan, that's me. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N spells Harrigan. Harrigan! Proud of all the Irish blood that's in me. Devil a man can say a word against me. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N, you see. It's a name that a shame never has been connected with. Harrigan, that's me. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N spells Harrigan. Proud of all the Irish blood that's in me. Devil a man can say a word against me. H-A-R-R-I-G-A-N, you see. It's a name that a shame never has been connected with. Harrigan, that's me.
After meeting with more than his share of success in the musical field, George M. turned his amazing talents to playwriting. It happened like this. One of New York's leading comedy actors of the era, Fred Niblo, paid a visit to the Cohan home. Niblo was mighty keen on George's beautiful sister, Josephine.
Well, Fred, if what I hear is right, it won't be long before you and Josie decide on wedding bells.
Yes, George, I'm afraid I'm for it. And why not? Josie's a great girl.
You're telling me.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to pop the question to your dad and mother tonight. Then a quick marriage and a honeymoon world tour embracing the USA, England, and Australia.
Yeah, that's doing it in a big way. What shows are you taking with you?
Oh, I've got 3 good comedies, but I could do with a couple more.
Fred, you've got them. If you're marrying into the Cohan family, you must have a couple of Cohan shows.
And believe me, he was as good as his word. For George Cohan wrote for Niblo 2 of the most successful stage comedies of all time. Get Rich Quick Wallingford and 7 Keys to Baldpate. Meanwhile, he still kept an eye to music writing and produced another smash in one of his big musicals of the day. It was the rhythmic hit, Give My Regards to Broadway.
Did you ever see 2 Yankees part upon a foreign shore? When the good ship's just about to start for old New York once more. With tear-dimmed eye they say goodbye, they're friends without a doubt. When the man on the pier shouts, let them clear as the ship strikes out. Give Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. A whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long.
By the time 1917 came along, Cohan was recognized as the undisputed leader of the American theatrical profession. America had just come into the war.
Well, Georgie, certainly looks as though we're in it at last.
Yes, and not too soon either.
What are you going to do, George?
I don't know. I offered my services in any capacity they might be needed, but, well, I'm going on for 40, and up to date I haven't been rushed.
Well, maybe, George, you'd be too old for the front line anyhow, but there is another way in which you could be of real help.
What's that?
Write us a song, a national song, something to build every solitary soldier's morale, something to thrill every Allied heart, something to help us lick the Germans.
Boy, that's real talk. And I'll go to work on it right now.
The rest is mainly history. The song he gave us was one of the most inspiring melodies of not only the First Great World War, but of any war. It was Over There.
Buddy, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me, every son of liberty.
Hurry right away, no delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart no lie, to be proud their boys in line.
Over there, send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums come tumbling everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't be back till it's over there. Over there, send the word over there.
That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. The drums are coming everywhere.
Say a prayer, say a prayer. Send the word everywhere. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't be back till it's over there.
The success of Over There was meteoric. President Wilson described it,
George M. Cohan's Over There is a genuine inspiration to American manhood.
later it was to help earn him one of the world's highest honors, the American Congressional Medal, which was presented to him by President Franklin D. Roosevelt for outstanding national service to his country. But in the interim, the prolific mind of Cohan wouldn't stay put. He wrote drama, comedy, and musical comedy.
One of the most successful being Little Nellie Kelly.
And how? It was an all-Cohan effort. The book, lyrics, and music all coming from his pen. There were a bunch of hits in this show. One of the most charming and nostalgic being, You Remind Me of My Mother.
You ask me why I fell in love with you. I'm going to tell you the truth, dear. I'm going to tell you the truth. The reason why I fell in love with you is because because, my darling, I find that you'll always bring to my mind a certain someone I have loved since before I cut a tooth. You remind me of my mother. My mother was a girl like you. So many little things you do, I find they bring to mind my mother. I never thought I'd be another, would have that sweet appeal, or could make me feel that this old fool world was real. I've got a tintype of my mother, when mother was a girl like you. You look a lot alike, you do. Her hair was just as fair, her eyes used to twinkle just the same as your eyes do. You remind me of my mother, that's why I love you.
The year 1925 found Cohan at his zenith. It was during this boom year of the 20s that the stage reached its all-time high. But a little later on, with the coming of the talkies and radio, the theater went into an eclipse. Naturally, George M. went with it, too. He became somewhat embittered and stated,
"The entertainment public has lost its knowledge of what counts in the theater. They're satisfied today to take synthetic screen fare as served up by the moguls of Hollywood. They don't think anymore. They don't know what good acting is. They've lost the art of discernment. In fact, they've lost the live artist theater."
And for many years, Cohan was right. From 1930 to 1940, the legitimate stage had to struggle for its very existence. Even today, it's only a shadow of its former glory, but fortunately, it's making a great comeback. Whichever way you look at it, George M. Cohan was representative of the theater at its very best, and the world is indebted to him for many happy hours of worthwhile entertainment. Maybe you remember his life story was screened a few years ago. It was titled Yankee Doodle Dandy, with James Cagney portraying the part of Cohan. He died in 1942 at the age of 64, but his melodies linger on, and I hope always will. So for the final curtain call, we'll revive two of his best tunes. June comes along with a song from his show, The Rise of Rosie O'Reilly, and the number we opened our show with, Nellie Kelly, I Love You.
There's a song we sing in June when the world is all in tune, and the sweet melodies of the breeze seem to please all the trees. It's the song of romp and play that the youth will sing all day. Mr. Cupid's doing his darndest, the sun is shining away. There is music in the air, there is laughter everywhere. There's a smile on the face of the earth, at the mirth, at the mirth. There's a dancing, prancing throng, and the bells all ring ding-dong. There's a God up above, all is right, all is love, when on June comes along with a song.
It's the same old song they sing, I love you. The boys are all mad about Nellie the daughter of Officer Kelly. And each one day long and green, flowers on reaping with June, and they join in the chorus of Nelly Kelly. I love you.
And so we come to the conclusion of a further episode of With a Song in My Heart. The artists who recreated the Cohan story were Douglas Kelly, Roy Leywood, Don Moore, Robert Peach, Joan Clark, and Max Blake. Your narrator was Kevin Brennan. The orchestra and vocal ensemble were under the baton of William Flynn. The feature was produced by Alfred Potter, scripted and directed by Jack O'Hagan.